Hey everyone, and welcome to another Sasquatch Theory podcast. On this episode, we have Roger from Texas. Roger was a hunting guide from Texas, and he had some strange experiences that he could not explain out in the woods that really terrified him, and he believes that he ran into Bigfoot or some other type of cryptid creature. Roger has stopped hunting ever since these encounters, and he has been looking for answers ever since. There have been many Bigfoot reports from Texas in the past. I believe they are here because of the vast forest, the many waterways, and the large amounts of wild animals. It seems like the Sasquatch are very territorial in this area of North America, and I wonder why that could possibly be. Have you had a Bigfoot or cryptid encounter before? If so, please get in touch with me, and I would certainly like to hear about it. If you guys can, like this video, subscribe to the channel, comment down below, and be sure to hit the bell notification for more. Alright, with all that being said, let's dive straight into Roger's Bigfoot encounters from the state of Texas. Roger, welcome to Sasquatch Theory. How are you doing today?
I'm doing very well, Miguel. I'm glad you got a hold of me. Have a word with you about this. So,
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad you contacted me. Roger, if you would, tell me a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and your Bigfoot encounters and experiences from the very beginning.
okay, Roger. Let me tell you. Well, I've been living here in Texas. I lived here pretty much all my life, and how this occurred or happened was I was an outfitter guide for in Texas, all over Texas, from north, central, south, east, west. Done it all, even out of state. So I've been around. I guided a lot, and I also stay in the woods pretty much months at a time. Without coming home, and wait for hunters to leave and wait for hunters to come, and so forth. And my experience was, I've took a lot of hunters guiding and so forth. Never thought about anything. Just I go out there, do my job, enjoy it. Do some hunting, enjoy the food, enjoy the wildlife, and little by little, I started noticing stuff. I've had rocks thrown at me. I've heard uh, that's, I thought of it was somebody chopping axe really early in the morning, but that's not the case because they were extremely loud when they were, I guess, hitting a branch or something across a tree or something. And it never made any sense to me. My first encounter, what it actually happened, it was northeast Texas and near the Red River, not very far from it. And we get there one night. It was the last day of deer season, the last weekend. And buddy of mine, you want to go hunt? I go, sure, why not? We ain't got nothing to do. It's last weekend, blah blah blah. He goes, there ain't not many deer, but hell, we ain't got nothing to do. Let's just go. So we drove up there on Saturday night. We got there and it was cold. It ended up being like 12 degrees that night. We had a thermometer, had it out there next to the tree, and as we were camping out in tents, of course. There was no lodging or nothing. We're, just camping out. Well, we got there late that night. I'm gonna say about midnight, give or take, at latest midnight. We got there, made a little fire, kind of messed around, and say, you know what? Well, let's get some rest and let's go ahead and get some sleep so we can wake up early and hunt in the morning. So we did, but all night it was just uncomfortable. That's when it started. I just every time I try to fall asleep, it was so cold, but I could hear everything outside. I could hear footsteps and so forth. And I thought it was him, like coming out to use the restroom or something like that. And I asked him next morning, he goes, no, I did go out, but like once. He goes, you didn't walk around the tents. I go, no. I go, no. And that's what I kept on hearing, the footsteps. That's how it started the first night when I got there. Well, all right, I let it go. I told him the next day, were you out there? Yeah, I did one time, but I didn't walk around. I just unzipped the tent and right there. And okay, left it at that. Maybe it's the wind or whatever. I don't know, or some kind of raccoon, possum, or I don't know. But it was kind of loud right next to my tent. They would come in really close and kind of stare at it. You could hear them, and you could hear the grass like it's just moving very slowly. But didn't think much of it. I left it alone. Well, finally woke up. Alarm came on, and decided let's go to the morning hunt. So we both split up. Right from camp, we walked maybe 100 yards, and from there we split up. So I went towards the river, which is the Sulphur River, and there's a creek that runs to the middle of the property that dumps into Sulphur River. So, and it's a pretty steep creek. It's, I mean, I'm gonna say it's f- maybe 20 foot tall at the most. At certain spots here and there, anywhere from 15 to 20 feet, tall. If I'm at the bottom, it's about that much to the top. Well, anyways, I walked the edge of the woods and try to get to an area where I was feel comfortable for daylight so I could start seeing things. Well, before I got really to the area that I wanted to, let's just say 100 yards away, all of a sudden I just heard movement on the ground, crashing like really hard. And the area was just so thick you can see maybe at the most 7 yards, 8 yards, because it was so thick. And vines and everything. There's some structures that look like teepees, and I mean that's what I got into. And I'm watching everything, and I'm like, okay. And I heard the like footsteps. Maybe I thought it was a deer running, but that didn't sound like a deer running. You could hear four hooves and moving more leaves and everything. There's like every other boom boom step on it. So I kind of just froze there for a minute, grabbed my flashlight on, and started flashing around. And as soon as I did that, the owl hoots came on, loud as hell. I mean, talk about I've never heard them so loud. I've been in the woods so long, I hear them all the time, but they were so loud. Like if they were on top of me or right beside me, I never saw them. Never one thing that I saw them. So I stayed looking at it. They were so loud, and I'm trying to pinpoint where it's coming from. Not a minute later, you could hear some. That's when I took my. I'm sorry. When I heard the owls, so forth, I heard some more footsteps. So when I heard the footsteps, kind of behind me, turned around and I took the safety off my rifle. I really didn't know what the hell that. It's dark. I couldn't see it, just a flashlight, but I'm only seeing where I'm pointing at. So I decided to just take the safety out. When I did that, all you hear when I turned around, it's like thrashing through the woods, and all of a sudden I hear like a drop when it dropped to the creek. And when I heard it drop, because I could even hear the splash of the creek, and it didn't have much water. It did have water, but not extremely a lot, because I could go through it. So so I decided, okay, well, I didn't see nothing. But at the same time, a couple of minutes later, I heard the owl hoots again. Same loud, same the same scenario, loud, but it was on the opposite side of the creek. I mean loud. And the other one were responding from the same side where I was at, but they were both so loud. And I'm like, makes no sense. Why so loud? And plus at the end, they were so long. It's like it an owl, but not an owl. So, okay, fine. You go, okay, it's wildlife. It is what it is. Ain't nothing gonna hurt you, blah, blah, blah. Kept on going. So I went to my destination right at the crack of daylight. I decided to go come down the creek because I wanted to jump over to get that feel. Maybe I could see something in the open because it was so thick over there. So I ended up going down the creek. As I'm going down the creek, I ended up jumping to those footprints that I was telling that something had climbed down the creek. And you can see where it jumped. And when it did the foot stripe, I never seen it. It's like somebody's wearing, I wear size 12 pretty much and boots, and these were way bigger than mine's, but I couldn't tell no fingerprints. I mean, no toes or anything. And the purpose for that, because that ground on that creek, it looks like rock, but if you touch it, everything crumbles. And if you don't touch it, everything crumbles. So at the same time, I watched it and I think, well, I mean, maybe somebody's been here, but the stride was so long. I did two steps on one stride. So that's what I'm saying. They go, man, somebody was running or something, and you could see it when it went across the creek and left the footprints, and you could see it when it's climbed up the trees. It was like two, three at the most steps, and it went up the side of the creek to the opposite side. So I mean, I left it at that. I just looked at it, and I go, okay, maybe somebody's here just wandering around sometime, whatever. But supposedly that's a private ranch. Nobody's supposed to be in there. So we left it alone. And right before that, I kept on going further. When I climbed up the creek and so forth, I heard the scream. That's when I heard the scream. And this is right, crack of daylight, where you can see plenty of daylight, but not the sun hasn't come out or nothing. And that's right as I was coming out the creek, I heard a scream, really loud scream. Then not 2, 3 seconds from there, I could hear the bashing of a tree. I mean, just like hammering the tree really loud, and I go, and it's far away. The field that I'm heard it from, it was at least, I'm going to say, no more than 100 yards, just an open field. And I was coming out from the creek, and I was watching it kind of creep up onto the top, and I could hear the smashing. And the first thing comes to me, well, somebody's chopping wood at this early in the morning, but there shouldn't be nobody chopping wood in this property because it's private property. So I heard that and so forth, and I just stood there the rest of the morning, and I just felt uneasy, like I was constantly being, I just feel uncomfortable. Something was not right. So I left it alone. Didn't see any animals. Didn't see nothing whatsoever. Not even a bird. So I decided, you know what, they started getting there. I sat there for a while and just watched my back, and it just something didn't feel right. So went back to the camp, and so I meet my friend. We kind of met up, and I told him, hey, did you hear those? I go, yeah, I heard them way over there. Wow, that was loud. Blah, blah, blah. He goes, yeah, they were right beside me. And he goes, I couldn't even see them. He goes, and by the way, are there people supposed to be coming in this ranch and so forth? Okay. Oh, maybe some stragglers coming down from the Sulphur River, probably coming in looking for arrowheads or something like that, maybe. I go, yeah, I don't either. They were running because they jumped down from one side of the creek to the opposite side of the creek, and the footsteps, and he'd be like, it's just probably somebody just jumped over. I go, yeah, but I didn't want to make a big deal about it. He goes, I just probably somebody looking for arrowheads and so forth. I go, yeah, not this early in the morning at dark at night. Didn't make no sense. So that was my first encounter, and I heard the scream. He heard the screams too, but he didn't hear him as close because I was closer to the screams than he was. But he did hear him, but he couldn't tell what it was. He thought it was just a bull or something, which they didn't have any bulls or cow in that property. So, anyways, so that passed by. That was the first encounter. A couple of years goes by. That year, I think I was believe 98 when it first started happening. When I started noticing stuff, from there on, I go, never let it go. If it's not alive, it can't hurt you, can't do nothing. Not even a ghost. I always thought that. And the word Sasquatch to me didn't mean anything, nothing. I've never heard of them. I've heard of it, but it just never crossed my mind to believe anything or nothing like that. Well, throughout the years, I started doing hunting more and more. And I take hunters, I guided them, personal guides and so forth. And sometimes hunters will leave. As when they leave, I'll stay at the ranch for a day or two, have some free time to wait till the other hunters come in. Well, I'll go out and, scout around, look for different areas, some areas that hasn't been hunting, maybe it's something else. So I kind of, help out hunters. And, at the same time, I will hunt for me at those times. If I got an opportunity, I will hunt. And at one time, this is in the Texas Hill Country now. This is not Northeast Texas. Different environment, different type of woods, a lot of hills and so forth. Well, on that one, that particular hill country place, I was there, and I've noticed as walking in the woods, I started, hearing footsteps as I'm walking. And I always see deer in that area, always see deer, not one deer that I see. So I kept on walking and walking and kind of take my time. I squat here and there, just look around, kind of look for signs, trails. As in one of them walks, I ended up hearing the growl. It's like a really loud growl, but I never got to see it. And all I did was just squat, took my safety off and so forth. And he goes, I've hunted so many animals. If it's growl or something, it's right there. And that's, either attack or something because the majority of coyotes, hogs, and all that, they're going to run. Anything runs. Nothing ran. It was just a growl and it just stood still. So I stood still, just waiting for see what was to happen. So took my safety off and so forth. And then all of a sudden, I got hit with an acorn. I got hit with an acorn. I'm like, okay, well, when I did that, I saw it and fell down. I mean, there's acorn trees everywhere. And I just took it at that. But it go, okay, fine. So I just slowly started, moving on. It's like every time I walk, the same thing. They will walk right beside me. And then I heard on the opposite side and like that. And I kept on going and going and going. And I think they were probably doing what I heard a couple of people that you had on the show, they said that they're squirting you out. Well, that's what I was kind of feeling like I was being pushed out of there. As I'm going out of there at the same time, I'm not completely out. And all of a sudden, about maybe 75 yards or less, I'm not sure, I didn't count distance, but it wasn't far. It's thick woods. I saw movement between the cedars. It's thick, a lot of pine cedar, not of pines, but a lot of cedar and a lot of oaks there. And it was kind of thick in that area. It's a valley between mountains or hills or big hills. And When I stood there looking at it, and I could see it moving, and I could see a little patch of black. So I go, maybe it's a hog. And as soon as I picked up the rifle, I picked it up because as a hog comes out or I see a hog, I'm going to shoot it. And my thing was, I couldn't hear him making any noise like grunts and so forth. All I see was just movement behind that cedar, like if either I would assume moving side to side or something. I don't know, but it was like 5 foot. And when I put the scope up, I got to see its hair. And it goes, that's not a hog. And I'm looking for a little window so I could shoot it because I have a rifle, but the rifle I have, it's a 220 Swift, mainly a varmint gun. It does kill some deer and so forth, but you want a clean shot. You don't want to shoot through the brush because it'll disintegrate once it hits a branch or something. So I've always looked for little open windows so I could get through and try to see where am I aiming. So as I'm looking at it and so forth, all I see is the hair and it picked up, and I saw it when it moved, and all of a sudden I see everything move towards the way, and I try to follow it. I never shot at it, looked at it, but when I'm saying I just saw hair, black hair, but it was so thick. But my deal is this: a hog doesn't get 5 feet in the air. That's one because I went back to go check it. I was curious. When I went up, it was about 5 foot off the ground, like it was either on squats or on full all fours. I don't know. That's all I could tell you. And that was an encounter and my second encounter. So I ended up go ahead and just I felt uncomfortable. So I went ahead and left. Went to camp, let my day go as it normally does, work around the ranch, so forth. Ate, came back and just forgot about it, never put much attention to it. But throughout the years as I'm going, I'm starting to happen to more things, started seeing signs like the X's, the little structures, the ones with the structure like the teepee ones in the really, really thick area. That scared me the most. Then again in the hill country, the other one was we showed up on this ranch to hunt, and we drove up, and we're deep in West Texas hill country, right at the edge, and it takes from the from the road from the front gate from the road, it takes you 1 hour, 10 minutes max to get to the ranch, and it's only 8 mile distance. And everybody tells me, "Why does it take you so long?" Because the road's not very drivable. You got to slowly go through rocks, take your time because you get a flat, you're stuck. So that's how long it takes us to. You got to cross the river and so forth, and you're deep in there. The nearest house probably maybe 5, 8 miles. The nearest town's probably 30 miles. So we're deep in there. Ain't much in there, but no electricity, no nothing. And we normally primitive camp. We did have a little cabin, but that little cabin there was only used in very cold weather or in the rain, and it only fit like 3, 4 people max. That's stuffing them in there, and there was three of us. So we get there. This is right at the beginning of deer season. It's still hot weather. We ain't got no electricity or nothing. So I had hammocks. We hang hammocks. It's cool enough. Very nice to kind of sleep outside. It's very comfortable and so forth. Well, that same night when we got there that first evening, just as we got there that first evening, we got there and driving in, we ended up shooting a small hog. So we had to there. We were probably going to cook it and so forth. We didn't even end up doing that because as we're starting to prepare to cook, to prepare the fire and everything, all of a sudden we start hearing the grunts, like growls at us, like really deep growls, and we couldn't tell. You could hear them; they're loud, and it made us think. And one of the guys goes, "What is that?" In my mind, he goes, trying to keep him at ease. I go, there's probably these black bears that are crossing in from Mexico. They're coming in from West Texas further. But at that time of year, at that era, there was no black bears or nothing like that crossing. There were, but only like to Big Bend area national parks. They weren't that even close to there. We're like 4 or 5 hours away from there. And so we kept on hearing the grunts. And the guys kept on asking, "Why it's just a bear." Try to keep them, at ease, because the guy's supposed to be more professional. Know what I didn't know what the hell it was because black bears don't do that noise. So I left it at that. We kept on going and kept on hearing and hearing it. So I left a shotgun beside the hammock, just in case anything came in, just to scare it off because I had bird shots. My actual rifle, was in the truck. So that night kept on going. I decided, let's go to bed. It's time. Let's get some rest. We'll wake up early. All right. So we did. So I'm doing well, middle of the night. I'm the first one up. I'm always the first one up and the last one to go to bed. My clients, the hunters, they make sure they're taken care of. So I always make sure I'm the first one up, last one to go to bed. So I did that like normal. And as we're sleeping in the middle of the night, and this is maybe 4 in the morning, was where I just got completely creeped out. I could not sleep. I did sleep a little bit from the beginning because I was tired, but as I'm there in my conscious at night, I just felt something wasn't right, and I heard like a big old footsteps. It's a really rocky in that area. So let's just say you step on the top of a rock. You ever heard of rock where it's hits another rock, which is basically where it moves. It's just moving, but you could hear it, but it was loud. And I kept on hearing it, and I could hear rocks like every time something walk will kick it, and you could roll in here over. And it was getting closer and closer. So I decided just to stay there, kind of open my eyes just to pay attention. And I couldn't see anything. So okay, I figured it's nothing. It stay quiet. It's gone away. A couple of minutes later, I heard it again. This time it was like 12 yards, 15 at the most from us. And we're in that hammocks. We're in a triangle, and our cabin is to the right. And it's a small cabin. It's not a big cabin. I'm 6'3". The cabin to my head was slightly over, so my head could probably touch the top. Then you got the roof and so forth. The roof, I'm gonna say, let's say 9 feet, maybe 10 feet total. Okay, so I'm 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 facing south. I'm sleeping. My head's facing north, and my feet are facing south. And it came around from my right all the way to the beside the cabin and beside that tree where my hammock was tied up. And when I heard it and it came up, I just saw it was really dark. And the way, and I looked at it for a while, but I'm like, it's so dark, I can't tell. But the reason I noticed something in the shoulders and everything and the silhouette, because that tree, it had so many branches, but not many leaves. The other thing, it was a night, there was so many stars. So at that angle that I was at with the hammock and facing up, I could see the body, the silhouette as it moved. The stars behind him start showing up. The front ones disappear, showing up as it starts walking sideways. And that's when I got up immediately. I go, something's here. I got up immediately to grab the shotgun and I go, fuck. And I looked at it when I noticed it was right next to the cabin. His head was above pretty much the top corner of the cabin. That's how high he was. And I looked at the shoulders, they're wide and so forth. I got up so quickly, drastically ran to the truck, grabbed my other rifle. At the same time I did that, all you could hear is just thrashing and rocks throwing and everything, as I guess we was kicking or as was running or something. I heard that, and it was quick. So I ended up just getting on, loading my rifle, and I stayed in the truck because I know it went to that side. And my other two hunters that were there, one of them just looks at me and he goes, everything's fine. I stayed up, and they were really deep sleepers. One of them could snore his ass off really loud. So it was, you couldn't tell, he couldn't hear nothing because he was so loud. And at the same time, I stayed up the rest of the night till daylight. Right at daylight, one of the hunters wakes up to do his business. He looks at me in the truck. He goes, "What are you doing?" "Oh, I got cold." "Cold? What do you mean cold?" I didn't want to tell him this is what I saw. This is that. I didn't want to scare my hunters. So at the same time, my other guy wakes up too. He goes, "Yeah, I'm a little chilly." He goes, "You mind if I, kind of stay in the back of your truck right here with this cover?" I go, "Yeah, go right ahead. No problem. You do that. I'm just focused on, watching this area." So I stayed at that, and I forgot to mention that same night by midnight or so forth, the reason these guys started panicking because they actually heard it scream with me. It screamed, sound like a bull and a growl at the same time, at the same like a lion at the end, towards the end. And it starts like a like a bugle, like an elk bugle, but it was like a sound like a bull, really loud, loud, and at the end like a big old roar towards the end at the end. And they're like, "What the hell was that?" And first thing that came to my mind, cause oh, it's probably an elk. Does it roar? I go, some dude, their throat, whatever. I'm just trying to make them at peace. We're in the middle of nowhere. Okay. So the guys kind of, okay, well, it's an elk, whatever. They go, "I heard elk. They don't sound like that." I go, "Yeah, I know they don't, but maybe this one does." I was just trying to make them at ease. Because one of them was really concerned and worried. And I've never had that happen to me or any other hunters besides just a rattlesnake here or a coyote there or something simple that we normally go hunt out. Nothing like that. So, I mean, that ranch, that was the very last time I've hunted that ranch after what I saw, the silhouette and so forth. I could see it. It had a head. I could see the shoulders. I see his arms. Uh, like I said, I see him walking, and as he walking, stars disappear, and behind him, stars reappear as he's walking across. All the silhouette. I'm watching him. I That's what pretty much kind of messed up my world because I really don't want to go back into it. Well, at the same time, I didn't stop there. I still had clients booked and had sold, and I had to, continue until I was done. So again, I moved to another ranch. This is East Texas now. This ranch, they did some timber cutting. They cut some pine trees, some lumber. They removed some lumber. And we were set up and everything. And I remember that first night we arrived, and I wasn't going to hunt. These guys was just going up there. Their friends, they just wanted to hunt, and so far I go, I'll do that, whatever. So I stayed behind in camp, and we had this camper, but it has that like a linen tarp that it goes around. You unfold and it turns into it's kind of insulated. Rain doesn't go in. It kind of keeps you, from the weather. Keeps you, out of the weather. So and then we did have a small AC and a generator. So we ran that all night. We fell asleep. We slept. All of us slept good. Well, these guys wake up and ready to go hunt. And I told them, I'm staying in. They left. And then one of the guys, hey, I only put enough gas for the generator. I don't think it's going to last no more than past maybe 7 o'clock. He goes, oh, that's fine. I probably should be up by then, by 7 a.m. in the morning, daylight, and it should be off. I go, should be good. I'll get up and I'll make breakfast for all of us. So, I left it at that. Well, they left, generator goes off, and I still stayed in bed for a little bit because it's still kind of cool. And all of a sudden, I start hearing branches, like something hitting the, the, the tent or whatever of the camper, whatever you want that material. And I could hear it smashing. You could hear it. And again, and not again. And I'm like, what the hell are these guys messing with me? So I decided to go out. And I figured, well, I didn't see anybody. As soon as I step out, and it's like I'm looking everywhere, nothing, nothing. I mean, I didn't see nothing. And I go, well, where the hell's all these noises coming? I go, maybe branches coming from the trees. I go, well, the nearest tree is actually about 30 feet from the house, or from the camper around it. Oh, there's nothing actually above it to kind of slide because they did cleared up a lot of pines. So, I go, okay, it must have been a branch, wind blew it or whatever, left it. Well, that afternoon, we went, did some work around the ranch, so forth. Guys were helpful. Never talked to them about it. And at one time, I mean, we did some footprints. I did see a footprint. I go, maybe one of the natives that are around here, the guys that are in here coming in here hog hunting, hog hunting, they've got to take his boot because you see a bare footprint, and you see some, several footprints of hogs and so forth. I go, but in between that, there was one footprint that it wasn't big. I'm gonna say probably anywhere from 9 to 10 inches long, but it was kind of wide. I go, maybe it just went up because it's in the mud and so forth. And I left it at that. Well, that evening comes by, and the guy goes, "You want to hunt?" I go, "Yeah, I'm going to hunt this evening. I'm going to hunt with my bow." And he goes, "We don't have anything set up." No, I don't. He goes, "We don't have no tree stands or anything set up." And no, I'm going to hunt from the ground. I don't want to climb on the tree. So I picked up an area, and it's like a square. And right at the corner of square, it's where the feeder's at, and behind the feeder is all the woods. And the opposite side, it's where they clear all the woods. But there was two pine trees that were there, two big pine trees. They were huge, and a lot of small little pine trees around to make for cover, for cover. And I went inside and I swept the floor, the leaves out so I don't make noise when I'm in there. So if I need to move, the feeder was in front of me, probably 25 yards or so. And so I could see anything in front of me. It's all the woods and everything to my left and to my right. There's woods, and I'm right at the corner because the back behind me, they ended up chopping all that timber. So when they chop the timber, I mean, I may not see nothing, whatever. I'm still going to hunt. Feeder goes off. All I saw were raccoons. Didn't see anything else, like animal wise, just a couple of raccoons. They came in and left quick. But at the same time, as I'm just waiting there, sitting down, kind of waiting for hunting, I felt at ease. I feel like something's watching me through my back, like somebody in that open field that the timber they cut. It's like something's watching me. It just didn't feel right. So, all right, fine. I kept on going my business, just looking, scouting. Then all of a sudden, I get hit. I got hit by two acorns and like a brownish reddish pebble. I had three times where I was sitting there, but in between that, before that, I could hear in front of me, with behind the feeder, crow started screaming, a crow, but it was sounding on the ground, not in the air, on top of a tree. and the sounds that was different, like a crow, but not a crow. And at the same time, when they were screaming behind me in that big where they cut all that timber behind me, where the woods are in that area, then they start shouting over there again. They start screaming like crows, like answering back and forth. But you couldn't see no crows in the sky or in the trees or flying around. You just hear them. And at the same time, I got hit one time, and I look back, and it's like they wanted me to turn or something, so I did, and kind of turned back around. Then also I got hit again, twice in the back, right in my chest, pretty much. And the one when I got hit in the chest, it was that brown orange pebble. And that was facing when I was facing at the feeder, and I felt it, and I saw it drop, they brought it up to the guys. Hey, dude, y'all throw it? No, dude. He goes, well, the acorns were thrown from behind me from that field, and they hit me in the back. And I cleaned the ground really good, so I won't make a noise. Brushed all the leaves and everything, made it a little sandy, and that's what was on the ground. And I saw the pebble when it hit me, and it landed in front of me. I go, it probably fell from the tree. I would understand if it was in an actual oak tree. It was a pine tree. They go, there was no, the nearest oak tree and so forth, they were more than 50, 60 yards away and further. Nothing that close could have chopped by that woods. And this time, maybe the wind blew it. There's the big trees. I go, okay, I left it at that. I go, no, and I go, what about the screaming? You hear all the screaming. Oh, there were crows. I go, there weren't crows. And that's how I started adding up with the hits and so forth. That's where I've noticed, there's something that right. Something's watching me the way I felt. That didn't not. How can I tell you? It didn't make me feel any better. So we ended up leaving after the following day. That night, all I did was just heard noises, like coyote noises, a lot of them, but they weren't coyotes. I've heard plenty of coyotes. I shot coyotes. They weren't coyotes. They like sound like imitate a coyote, but to a certain extent. But they all of a sudden they get out of the tune and turns into another different noise. And once I did that, I didn't bring it up anymore, nothing, because I did try to talk about it. I got scrutinized, whatever, you this, whatever. You know what? I just let it go. So I go to my next ranch. I go to another ranch. In that other ranch, it's where I've actually was inside the cabin, and I guess it's a log. I mean, I don't know. I would say it fell from the tree. I go, but why did it hit the side of the house? It would have hit the top of the house. And either way, there was no branches broken or anything out of the out of the from that tree that was actually above. It was an oak tree, and it was an oak branch, but there was nothing broken from that tree, and it hit the side of the house, not the top of the house. That was my very 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 last encounter, and the one that scared me the most was like I was telling you, the one I saw when it came up to the small cabin, and the size that I saw, and that kept me curious. And I'm not saying I don't believe it, but I don't disbelieve it either. I'm open to, I'm open now. Back then I would say, oh hell with everybody's crazy. They're seeing things, whatever they're on. So I go, to all this, he goes, I just wish I would never seen it because it's been in my head for many, many years now. And I just basically just don't just want an answer if it's true or what the hell is it, because I go out there in the woods, I don't enjoy it anymore. Like I loved it. I had my hunting dogs, I had everything. I've stopped hunting because pretty much a lot of that. And never had encounters with around my dogs. Of course, dogs do run a lot and they hunt hogs at night. To my recollection, I've never had a issue with being out there hunting dogs or seeing anything. Or at the end, I didn't never paid attention. But after all those incidents, I've walked trails. In the trails, I found the X's. I found some branches as they're twisted. The structures. I mean, stuff that you will never think who the hell did that. Maybe a kid or some family came in or something. Well, when I found the structures in the middle, this is in the hill country, different ranch. I walked through this big old. There's like 4 or 5 hills, big mountains, and I walk in between, and it's like a highway in between them. And I go in there try to intercept anything that passes through there. Since I was walking in there, all I start hearing a kid's voice and a woman's voice talking back and forth, but I could not understand them. It was like a gibberish Asian something. And I'm like, what the hell are you doing here? This is a big ranch. Nobody's supposed to be here. This is a private ranch. It's over 5,000 acres. I mean, there shouldn't be. I'm the only one that has access to it. I decided to climb up the hill and try to figure out who the hell's in there. So maybe if I get up on high enough, I could see down below. And I never saw him. Never saw the kid or the woman or whatever it was. Just the gibberish. I heard the gibberish, so forth. That's out there. And what I do hear the most is just the whoops. I'll be honest. I've never heard the whoops. I heard more of a loud, long ass howls. That's what I've heard the most. But I mean, those have been my encounters. You know, that's pretty much been it. My deal is just want to talk to a couple of y'all, see what y'all think, or I mean, what the hell's out there? What are my experiences, or anybody's hunted in those particular areas that I've hunted? Because the areas that I've actually hunted, if I've heard them on your shows, I've heard them some other shows, and that's what I want to see. I mean, I just want to get a little closer off of this. I don't know. I can't fix nothing or the world, nothing. My mind is wants to know what the hell is out there. Like I said, I want to believe it, but it's difficult. I mean, I don't know what to think about it. And if I bring it out to people, you're this, you're high, you're drunk, whatever. If somebody has an opinion, like I tell you, he goes, I didn't go out looking for him. And I tell everybody, I don't go out looking for him. I'm a guide. I'm trying to take care of my clients. I don't care to whatever the hell it is. I don't hunt that shit. I don't need it. All I want to just make sure my clients, and I'm glad them as I'm scouting around. That's when I'm coming to all these situations. And those 2 times that I've hunted and I've heard noises and got to hear what I hear and got hit with acorns and a rock, I go, I mean, this is not normal. Something's not in the ranches that I have access to that nobody should be in there. So nobody can actually mess with me because I'm the only ones that has permission on the property. And my hunters and all that, although I normally take them where they need to go and they stay there until I pick them up. So they don't know the ranch very much. So that's what makes no sense on a lot of to the stories that I'm telling you that's happened to me. But beyond that, that's all I could tell you for right now
All right,
and so
Roger.
forth.
I appreciate you for
Mhm.
sharing your experiences with me. And that does sound like Bigfoot activity. I've heard a lot of reports from those areas of North America, and I don't know the exact spots that you were at, but
Mhm.
it does sound like Bigfoot activity. And it makes me feel like you were tagged or marked by these creatures because the different places you would hunt at, you had activity. And
Yes.
yeah, I mean that's really strange, and I've experienced the same thing, and it just feels like these things are following you around, or it gives you that feeling like these things are everywhere. I don't know if you had that
Right.
same feeling.
Yes. Well, I've been in South Texas very much. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Texas, that it changes, it varies, and on the wildlife, on the wilderness and everything. It changes drastically from desert to swamp to everything. And never expected it in deep South Texas. It ain't very tall brush, very thin, a lot of mesquites, real thin. That's the worst one. The last one I had, I feel like I needed to get out of that area. It was creepy and so forth, but I never had that feeling. Even the guy that was with me said it the same thing what I was thinking. I go, dude, this gives me the creeps. Don't want to hunt here. If something's making us out, and we both pull out. And I agree with him. I felt it. He said it. He commented. He felt it. I go, yeah, dude. You don't mind if we go out somewhere, look for somewhere else? We stopped hunting that evening. We felt very uncomfortable where we were at. It's just something was not right. And like I said, I just want some answers. I don't know what to tell you. I wish I knew what it was, or wish I the the correct answer for this, but I don't have it. So I'm going to y'all, talking to y'all about it, see what conclusion. One guy brought it up when they growled at me. They say, "Oh, it was probably a dog man." I have no clue what the hell was a dog man. I'm recently starting to know about it. That they're like a werewolf and so forth. And I go, maybe that's what I saw when they growled on me and escorted me out. But I go, if it wanted to attack ground, it would attack me, or I was in danger. I would have been attacked. I'm sure he saw me with the rifle, but I only saw that movement. when they I felt like I was being walked out of that area, but it was a growl like it sounded like a wolf or a coyote. Normally they all ran. I almost stepped on coyotes before when I'm walking around, going up a hill. They're laying in the grass, it's tall grass. I almost stepped on them, and everything, pretty much everything in the woods runs away from you. These weren't running. That's the whole thing. These weren't running away or trying to escape, but they will follow you. And I could hear that. And those every time I hear those footsteps in the leaves, I go, "Ah, it could be a deer." I go, but no deer, just like one, two, one, two, and you stop and it stops. Deer normally drags his feet a little bit and kicks some leaves around or stem or whatever. And there's a lot of quieter. These were louder than deer. So yeah,
Yeah. I don't know too much about Dogman, but I've heard a vocalization out in the woods that leads me to believe it was a Dogman. The vocal that you heard, did it sound canine? Like, did it sound like the werewolf call that you'd hear like from Hollywood, just really loud, or what do you
the
think?
the howl,
Yeah.
the howl. Okay, I worked in ranches and I worked in. I've been around cattle, and to me, how it sounded, it's like a big old bull, loud as hell, and at the end, like a roar of a lion. Like a roar at the end, as let's just say it starts coming like a bush, like they're woo, and it's just at the end it growl. It's like a roar. That's what it made. That's what caught our attention that day, and that's when that particular day. That's when I saw the silhouette and so forth in that area.
Okay.
I
Yeah,
mean,
I'm no expert, but that does sound like Bigfoot to me. There was a YouTube video floating around for a while. These guys were like out in the woods and they had like their pickup trucks and you could hear this Bigfoot howl and it was like a roar and the guy's like, "Get back in the
I'll
truck."
get back truck. Okay, yeah,
Yeah,
I just saw it like a couple of days ago,
yeah, that's what it
like that.
reminds me
Like
of.
you did you hear that roar like roar or something like towards the, if there's a scream and whoop, he kind of whoops a little bit, but there was one like a roar. That's what it sounded at the end, but loud. And then that's what I'm saying. It sounded so loud. I go, I seen bulls, when they scream and they're doing their thing at night or howling. They don't howl, but I'm saying when they scream,
Hmm.
they make the similar noise, but they don't roar like a damn whatever that was roaring. I
Yeah.
mean,
I know exactly what you're talking about. I camp at an area and the guy has bulls there and when they go off it makes me look and I'm listening. I'm like, okay, that was just a bull, but it does sound pretty intense, but for it to growl and roar, that's a little bit different. I know what you're talking about. It kind of sounds like a semi truck sound or something like
yeah, exactly. That was the loud one. The growls is like I said, the day we got there, it was just like a growl, like it was around us. Like growl, let's just say I'm facing north and it growl. I could hear the growls north, and all of a sudden you see it to our west, and then you hear it to our east, and it's like going around and around and growling. Like I've never heard that noise before. That's what I'm saying. I don't know how to imitate it or something because that was my actual first time hearing it, and it was loud, and it wasn't a bear, it wasn't no deer, it wasn't no wolf because there ain't no wolves there. Sure as hell wasn't a coyote. And like I said, those type of growls, I don't know if he's like I said, I don't know what it was.
Mhm.
Like, anyways, but
It sounds prehistoric.
mhm,
Yeah.
yes, exactly.
Okay. So
And
what you encountered at the cabin, what could you see?
in the cabin, I saw from his pretty much his, I want to say close to his waist up, long arms, wide shoulders, not much of a neck. It was dark. I mean, we were sleeping outside. There's no electricity there, but there was no moon. But there was the stars were out, and like I said, you can see a lot of stars, and it's like you feel like you're touching the stars because when you're there, you feel like you're really close. And at the angle he was in, I was looking, and whatever stars there was behind him, he was covering them in front of him. And when he moved, you could see him popping up every time he moved sideways. That's what caught my attention. That's how I started seeing what the hell is that? Because you start seeing the stars move, disappear, move, disappear. And that's when it caught my attention. That's when I got up in a rush. I grabbed a shotgun, and by he saw me or whatever it is was, I mean it disappeared quick because as soon as I got up the hammock, I was up and looking forward to go to getting my rifle because, and be honest with you, I really thought that in that area that there's supposed to be immigrants crossing or whatever, but they were no immigrants because, to my knowledge, from South America or Mexico, whatever, they ain't that tall. Be honest with you, they're not that tall. And I saw him right next to the cabin, how big he was from the, like I tell you, I'm 6'2", and that's inside of it. It's a little bit higher. It's maybe 7 foot inside, and the outside from the roof and so forth. It's at least about 10 foot. It's not a big cabin, but it's big enough. Tall enough.
Yeah,
But
and it was throwing rocks as well, huh?
yes, I had him throw rocks at me. Yes, the pebbles and so forth. Yeah, all these encounters were different properties, different. Majority of them, I could count us more in the hill country in East Texas, Northeast Texas. Those are the main ones. Panhandle, I've heard noises. I've heard the howls loud as hell. I did hear those, but I never saw anything. And that was damn bulls, whatever. They're fighting over cows or something. That's about it. Because you could hear them like something fighting really heavy. But like I said, I'm not there to see it. It sounded a good distance, but close enough for us to hear it. That's in the Panhandle. Uh, let me see. Deep West Texas. I can't say right at the verge of the hill country, West Texas. That's where I had a lot of my experience. Quite a bit of them there in East Texas. East Texas, I'm gonna tell you, it's like if you're familiar with Ladonia, Will City, right there north of Ladonia, all that area, Sulphur River in that area. It's right between Ladonia and the Red River, but right beside the Sulphur River. And my thing is, when I started reading into the stories, it came up as a Sulphur River in one area. I think it's further south. That's what got me to all this, because I was at the very edge, at the creek that dumps into the Sulphur River. And when they brought it up, I looked it up. Actually, if you look at the Bigfoot map that they have on the deal, Bigfoot sighting maps, there's a bike tells you all the counties, places that they hear and so forth. Actually, there's like 5 of them log above and below from where I was at when I saw the first one that encountered. So, you know, but in the hill country, the reason I got into more of that is the lady that was with you, does the sketching encounters. She did one a county next to where I was at, and one right beside that area. I had a ranch near that area. That's where that area has happened to me. So I mean, that's what kind of got me. Man, something wasn't right. So I'm kind of narrowing it down. That's what I was trying to figure out.
Yeah, absolutely. And were all these experiences close to waterways? I know you mentioned the Red River, but
Yes.
all the different
Hmm.
areas, there's a waterway close
Yes,
to
they're
these.
they're rivers. Yes, I
Okay.
had to. There's a river that turns into a Y, and that Y, it's a one of them is called the East Nueces River, and the other side is called the West Nueces River. But they're split between that. It's like a Y, and it goes to South Texas, and it dumps to the ocean. I was at the beginning. I hunt both areas, both sides. In between those two rivers, they're pretty far apart, but they meet down by Uvalde, and that's where it ties in together down by Uvalde. So between those two rivers, they're like the biggest mountains that I've ever been around and hunted in, and there's hardly anybody that lives out there. That's where I have majority of the encounters right there in that area. That the lady that sketch encounters, she wasn't, the ranch that she was talking about wasn't far off from where I was at. So I mean, I'd
Yeah.
always thought, when I started hearing about it, there's just in East Texas. That's it's just in East. I'm safe, and in East Texas only. So
Yeah. If
so
there's a lot of woods and waterways, these things could be
oh yes,
anywhere.
yes, and there's creeks. There's so many creeks. There's so many. Um, I said there's a lot of game, so they will never go hungry there. There's so many deer, so many exotic deer from around the world. There's everything free ranging. One day you may see a zebra, one day you may see a gazelle. You never know what you're going to see. There's kangaroos. There's stuff that's escaped from all these game ranches. There's a lot of stuff there. And these ranches that I got, I mean, you could hunt deer, elk, exotics, axis deer. I mean, you name it. If it's if it's was released back in the 30s, it's out there.
Yeah. So there's a major food source out there for these
Yes,
creatures and even exotic
yes,
game.
yes, sir. Lots of it. From mountain goats to rams to exotic deer to African species, scimitar oryx, gazelle. You never know, because I've talked to people. They go, "Hey, my grandpa shot this scimitar oryx." I go, "Where the hell?" He goes, "You never know what you're going to see." That's the thing. You never know what you're going to see. We've caught zebras. There have been zebras that are been loose, escape, or whatever. We actually darted them and brought them into a ranch. I mean, we've done that too. That's what we do. So, but my deal is, I've never thought in my life I would ever have that experience in my life. I've never thought about it. Never until little by little I started reading into it because I'm kind of had doubts. What was that day? What the hell did I was screaming? And that's when I started hearing the Sierra sounds. I go, okay, that's that's what I'm probably was hearing back in the days. That's it just it's stuff that's new to me, and then I'm researching, trying to figure out. But it's since it's been some time. I mean, like first one I told you is '98. From there off forward, I think the last one I ended up quitting. I think by I'm gonna say by 2010. That's I ended up just I don't want to do it no more because I've always got that uncomfortable feeling every time I went out there. It's like I was always I just my back, I feel like somebody was constantly watching my back. There's just I don't wanna feel that way. It's just uncomfortable paranoid feeling. So,
Yeah, so you don't do the guided hunts anymore?
no, I don't. I still have access. I have access to a lot of ranches. I stay good with the ranchers, and like I said, some of them, these ranches, there's nothing on there, they're just land. And when it's like that, I get it for a better price. So that's why I did that. And when there's lodging and so forth, of course everything rises, but commission goes down. But I mean, like I said, there's people wants to be luxury. Well, take them to the good lodge. People that want to rough it out, they want the experience. Well, let's go this way. So I do both.
Yeah,
Well,
absolutely.
used to.
Yeah, so you heard something knocking, it sounded like it was hammering a tree. Why do you think they were doing that?
That's what I don't know. Okay, this has happened when whatever I pushed out of that creek.
Mhm.
That's what it was. Because that's not an hour for, let's just say, your neighbor to get up, grab an axe, and start chopping a tree early in the morning. Why just barely the crack of daylight? Well, maybe there is, but there was only three knocks loud. And I figured, what the hell? I could hear that, somebody chopping wood over there. I go, but there was just three chops. That was it. Nothing besides that. That was it. And that's where I heard the scream in the tree hammering the tree three times. That's what makes no sense to me. Who was chopping trees? Which is now I know who does it because I didn't know back then.
Yeah.
And when I heard one stories and a couple of shows, a lot of them say that's like it's like a warning. They're warning you, and I didn't know that. I'm glad I left that day. I guess but I turned back and went straight to back to camp, and that was our last day of deer season. So we ended up going home.
Yeah, it sounds like they were trying to intimidate you and they were being territorial. I often get people that say, just leave them alone. But they don't understand, like, these things are messing with people. Like, yeah, I go out there camping, trying to document the activity, but it's not like I'm out there trying to pull their tail or, smack them on the back of the head. Like, these things
Exactly.
they're targeting people. And if you're in their area, they're going to let you know. And
Yes.
it's
And
probably best to leave, but yeah, they're the ones messing with the people.
right, and let me tell you something, Miguel. I think that day, I think I might have woke him up from his nap or something because when I walked in that area, it got up quick and a lot of noise, and I figured I just jump some hogs. That's what I figured. It was so huge. I figured I jumped some hogs, but I go, I would hear more legs, more feet, dragging and screaming, some noises. Didn't hear any squeals, no grunts, no nothing. Just a movement, a commotion of moving really loud, moving and stopping quick. And they stopped, froze there, and kind of waited. And that's when the owl hoot started coming. Then it started from my left, then minutes later to my right from the other side of the creek. And if you cross the creek and you get on top of the creek on the other side, it's like a field. And from there, it's almost 100 yards to the nearest woods. So I was like, I could hear it coming from there, but it was so loud. The same noise, same volume, I guess, but in the same way it was factored as like an owl hoop, but it wasn't an owl.
Yeah,
So,
I know what you mean, and I think they knew you were out there hunting their food source, and they weren't happy about it.
I don't know. I'm assuming not, because this is shit. I was actually a little bit frightened that day because it's just the stuff that's That's unexpected for me because I go to the woods. I'm already expecting maybe to see a rattlesnake here, maybe to get some little danger on this, hog that may attack me. I'm a little prepared and focused on that. That I know it happens. It happens. It happens. We go live through it. But different stuff, like I told you, stuff growling at me, throwing rocks at me. I mean, no animals does that unless it is what we're talking about. We think it is
Yeah.
because, like I said, nothing's going to chunk acorns at me or throw pebbles at me. You know, I just that's what I'm saying. And I've asked the guys that are there, well, and I said, well, he couldn't be it because he's about I'm going to say about quarter to a half mile that way, and this one's about another. That's what I'm saying. We're pretty good distance away. There's no time to us mess each other up or mess with each other. There isn't. Plus, these are clients. I don't think these clients are going to do that or come mess with me. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's the same way with people. Whenever you know there's game in an area and you plan this big hunt and you're excited about it, and when you get in there, there's like people walking around that usually aren't ever there, or people just out there
Mhm.
playing music, and it kind of ticks you off. You're like, man,
Yes,
they're they're somewhere they shouldn't be. There's a big giant buck that's been running around here, and now I can't hunt. Someone's out there cutting trees
exactly.
down. And I think it's the same way with these creatures. Like they find the food source, they're planning this hunt for the night, and all of a sudden people show up and it throws them off. And I think it ticks them off.
Right. And what was I going to say? My deal is, the times that is all the incidents that happened to me, not one deer or animals that we normally would go to hunt them. Nobody killed anything in those particular times. None of us. And I acknowledge that. And the times that I've been through that, I don't see a goddamn thing. I've never seen anything when I felt that way, and I've been around it. I don't see any animals, and I've heard them. They mentioned it gets quiet. You don't even hear bird. It goes, you know what? Then it brings back memories. That's what happened to me, and it kind of creeped me out. I mean, because it's an area. There's a lot of songbirds, and the nature's beautiful. Everything's fine. I'm there all the time, and I hear it. Then from one day to the next, it's like dead, and you don't see nothing in areas that I normally see them all the time, and that's what it make no sense. And like I said, the days that this happened, I never saw or none of my clients shot anything.
Yeah. And that's typical. When these things are in an area, they'll deplete the food sources, and the game that is around, they'll pick up on whatever it is that's there and they'll take off. And
Hmm.
yeah, man, that had been spooky to be in that area. And you get that feeling like the hairs on your arms and on the back of your neck are just standing up, and you just don't know why.
Exactly. Oh yeah. I mean, the only thing I did notice a couple of times, I've had hunters that they've shot and they see a drop and they get distracted looking here somewhere else. And when it's time to pick them up, it goes, well, it's right here. I mean, where the hell it go? It's like it just disappeared out of nowhere. Like, well, did it get up and run off? Did you hit him good? Yeah, it sounded good. It lay there for a long time and came back. I go, you see coyotes getting it? He goes, no. He goes, if it was coyotes, they would have tore it to pieces and they'll eat it quick, but it would have been like they'll leave some kind of sign. This one, there's not a deer, there's nothing. And like I said, when people lost their deer, I used to have a deer dog, and I'll turn him when he was by himself. He knew, and I put a bell on him. He knew he was going for deer, go track a deer. When I didn't have a bell on him, had him with other dogs, he knows he was going hog hunting. So I raised dogs. I've been in the woods for a long time. And that's what figures me out because they haven't let the dogs, and the dogs didn't want to move. The dogs like just circling, circling, and they just stand still and just look at us like, "What the? Go look for him." They don't know. They didn't want to do nothing. That's that's what I've noticed on that. They go like, "Your dog don't work good or what?" He goes, "No, I don't know. Something's not right." He just, but I never could answer a good question and answer to tell him something's scaring him or what because I didn't even know. So I started hearing all these stories and stories and stories. I go, it adds up a little in a way. That's all I could say.
Yeah, it's wild when it's happening. You don't really think of Bigfoot, even as time passes by, until you start listening to other people's reports, and you're like, "That's what my dogs were doing that night, huh? I wonder if that's what it
Yes,
was."
exactly.
Yeah,
But I mean, that's been my pretty much my stories. I've had other incidents, but I don't know if it was it or what. Like I said, it just stuff that just happens. I mean, this I've had where I get back. we'll leave some stuff and it's all moved. And I go, maybe goddamn, I mean, raccoon, because I seen raccoons come in and move a pan or something like that. I go, I mean, stuff like that.
Hmm.
But I don't know. I couldn't tell you. But my point was is that I never got to the point of looking for Bigfoot prints or anything like that because I've never been around it or involved in it where people have constantly, question it or ask or uh, throw out comments about it because I've never been in that environment. I heard people tell, "Hey, you damn Sasquatch because you got big feet and tall." That's the most I've been involved with it. Then I saw the patty and I saw that, and that's well, like, okay, I don't think that's real. It's a costume, whatever. And then, oh, it's real. And, it's so many things. I don't know what to believe. Be honest with you.
Yeah, it almost makes me feel like they tag people or mark them because they're always out in the woods hunting or fishing, and eventually they get tired of it. I mean personally, like I do have like a supernatural view on the topic, so because they've done things that I just can't explain, like followed me
Hmm.
from areas that are like 30 miles away up to an hour, and it's like, how is that even
Really?
possible? I'm having activity here, and then I
Uh
go
huh.
to a conservation area east or west of my location for miles and miles away, and they're there the first time I go. It's like, I got the feeling like these things are everywhere. I bet everybody knows about them. If I talk to hardcore hunters, they're going to be like, yeah, we've
Hmm.
ran into them. But I've talked to many hunters and they just, they raise their eyebrow and they're just like, no, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've only talked to one person out of everybody. Everybody else, has their 2 cents, and it's was like, yeah, you're out of your mind. That's pretty much. There's one guy that I've talked to. He was in the military, and he goes, yeah, I know. I've been around them. I lived in areas where they've been around. And he goes, they're real. Oh, they're out there. But he was short. He goes, no, they're real. They're out there. I mean, those were his answers. You go, I know what you're saying. You don't have to explain. I know. And I go, "Why, you're afraid to get screwed?" Because I get screwed. He goes, "Yeah, that's a but, I'm with you." He goes, "I'm not telling you I don't believe you." He goes, "I just told you they're out there. They're out there." He goes, "I believe you." I was like, "Okay." And once in a while, so, we spoke a little bit here and there. And he's kind of bringing out an experience. And I've told him some of mine. He goes, "What?" He goes, "Yeah." And he said he's had a couple of experiences around the lake because he lived nearby a lake. And he said he could hear him screaming every once in a while. But
Yeah. I mean, if you actually ran into these creatures, you would be scared of them, and I definitely am. Like, you see videos of me camping, that's because I haven't ran into them for a long time. Like, the more I
mhm.
do it, like, I slowly put my feet back in the water and got back out in the woods. But when you really run into these creatures, it'll terrify you.
Yeah. Well, let me put it to you this way, Miguel. If I just told you I'm about 6'3", okay, and people look at me, God dang, you're a monster. I'm afraid of you. That's what they see me. But they don't know me. They just, well, when I saw you, I was afraid because you're big. I go, so, and then when I think about it, when I say, well, imagine you think I felt when I saw what I saw that day, and I'm tall, and the way I saw next to the cabin, that's why I kind of ran to the damn truck to get the rifle. But at the same time, my minds was either that or an immigrant. I go, but if it was immigrant, to be honest with you, it ain't that big or tall. If you're looking about countries and so forth, yeah, yeah, you can get a tall one here and there, but not like that, not that tall.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm getting at. I mean, I'm just trying to figure this out, and I mean, not that I want to see it, I just want to know the truth. That's all I want to
Yeah. I mean, there's exotic animals out there, but imagine how many
know.
immigrants took the wrong turn and went through these
Ex-
woods and never came back out.
exactly. I think about it now, a lot of things like that because of all the 411 cases that I've heard, and that especially in national parks, and I mean, I hate to say the government and all this that don't know nothing about it, or they're just being, looking the other way. I don't know why. Is there a reason why they're doing that, or what? I mean, I don't have an answer, but it's just making me more question marks every time I see an episode or see something, and it brings something new every time.
Yeah, absolutely. I think of it like when your parents know stuff and they don't tell you. Like when you're a kid, you know what I mean? Like any drama that they had back in the day or people that they got in fights with, they don't really tell their kids that. But I kind of look
Hmm.
at it the same way with the government, like with the Bigfoot topic. Like they won't tell us what's going on because it's something serious, and that's kind of how our parents, were growing up. Like there's just certain things they
Hmm.
don't tell you.
exactly. Yeah, I mean, I every once in a while I wander off and kind of drive here and drive there, but I don't go really deep in. I don't. I stay try to be a safe, and the majority of the time I don't bring it up to anybody because if I bring it up, I'm crazy and nobody wants to do nothing or wants nothing to do with that. But sometimes I just like to get close enough where I hopefully, kind of get an answer or kind of get an idea because going deep in like I used to, I trust me. I will go in deep, very deep, where everybody says, "Man, you shouldn't do that by yourself" or something like that. I go, I'm a hunter. I'm, kind of scouting. I'm doing this. This is what I love to do. I don't do it anymore. I stopped doing it. I really did because of stuff that's out there that it's new to me. That's kind of scaring me because it's not supposed to exist, and that's the thing. But
Yeah.
you know,
It's wild how something that you once loved eventually just like fizzles out and you don't do it anymore. And
yeah.
that could happen for many reasons, whether it's just like you're going through something, or someone passed away that you used to do something with, or you run into these
Mhm.
creatures. It's like you lose the spark, the passion to do it.
Exactly. Oh yeah, that's like I was bred. I was just born and bred for this to do this, and it all ended in those years. It ended quick. I've always hunted since really young. I've done a lot and killed some. I've harvested a lot of animals, and seen a lot. And from one day to the next, everybody tells me, "What made you quit? You always loved it. What did we?" And I don't tell them the reason, but I mean, I'll say, just I've done it for too long. I kind of look for something new hobby or trying to make some excuse because that's what I'm doing. Excuses is not the real answer. And it's just I don't know. I always think about if I wish I could do it again, but I don't want to feel the feeling that I've got the times that I was there. It's just frightening. It's just I've never been through those feelings where you're afraid. Yeah, there's some I've been afraid here and there, an accident or whatever. But without being an accident or nothing, just by just standing in the woods, you feel that fear, and it just kind of I'm drowning in that fear, and I wanted to get out of it basically. I didn't want to be feeling that drown again in that fear again because being out there in the woods, I feel like I feel like sometimes I wasn't going to get out of there. I actually did feel, especially when that growl. And I told you it was like 5 feet. I don't know if it's on fours or what. That one made me think it was a dogman, but I've never heard anything about dogmen in the hill country that I know of. I can't say they're not, but you know that's the main one because that growl was it was like a wolf growl, but I could never see it. And the only thing I saw was the hairs when I pointed my rifle at it, and basically I think it knew when I was pointing my rifle at it because it hauled butt from that. As soon as I did that, I watched it, saw his hair, and it just flew across behind it and didn't see it again. And from there on, you know what? I haul butt to the road and walk my butt to the camp. So
Yeah, they very well could have been a dog man. I think from what you described, it was possibly a Bigfoot, but since you didn't see it clearly,
no, I just saw
it's
that
all on the
some
table.
hair. Yeah, it's all I saw some black hair, brownish black hair, but that hair was not like a wild hog. Wild hog hair, if you ever seen one or seen a mount of it, look at how it looks like really straight and stiff. This was like, how can I tell you? Like just walking out of bed with your hair's all messed up from the back, basically. It's something like that, knotted up or something.
Yeah. I got
So
a question for you though.
sure.
I had an experience in the Mark Twain National Forest, pretty close to an area called the Big Piney River, and me and a police officer that had Bigfoot encounters out there we were looking for Bigfoot, and we went down a Forest Service road, and we tiptoed down that road real quietly. And when we got down to the river bottom, we smelled something. It smelled I don't know, like just a bad smell.
Hmm.
Well, we got behind these briar bushes, and all of a sudden, it sounded like 15 animals just took off running. And we thought it was hogs because all we saw was just like black and like a tan color. But we never laid eyes on a hog. We just saw animals running, and they stampeded out of there. And
Hmm.
we went and looked for tracks. We never found one hog track. And down there in those river bottoms, it's really muddy. So we should have
Yeah.
found a track, but when we were looking for tracks, you could still hear them running around us. Does that sound like hog activity to you?
Well, see, the hogs, the deal, you could hear them. They do make a lot of noise and they grunt and they make some noises and they how do you say, they like they blow their nose like as because they're trying to get that scent out of their nose. If they got you, if it goes inside of them, that's how they make that noise, and they blow it out, and you can hear them that blowing it out, and that's what they do a lot. Once they sense you, that's what they're constantly doing. They're kind of warning the rest of them, and they'll make one noise, and once one of them makes that noise, they all disappear. But they normally do make noises. That's what I was telling you. Hogs, I've been around them. I walked up to them, and if they don't smell you or nothing, you could get nearby them and stay quiet. As soon as they get a scent or whiff of you, that's it. It's like they blow out of their nose really hard, and they're like that's their signal to say there's some. We smell something. There's something not right, and they have another noise, like a little grunt noise. Once they make the little grunt noise, it's disappearing time.
Yeah.
That's what I normally wait for to hear. If they smell you, they'll blow first. They blow first and one, two, three times, and kind of pick up their noses and figure out where it's coming from. And if they do figure out, you hear that little noise, that like a little small grunting noises that they make, that they're out of there.
Hmm.
That's a signal, get the hell out for them.
Yeah, we never
And that's
heard
what I'm
them
saying.
blow or grunt or anything. It was just like a stampede. And
Mhm.
yeah, it just sounded like even minutes after, like they were still running around the bushes around us. But I was like, man, if that was hogs, they would have hightailed it out of there. Like, why are they still running around us?
Yeah, exactly. They normally will hightail. That's what I'm telling you. All of my encounters, like all my animals normally run. They don't stay there and shoot me and say, "Shoot me," and especially hogs or coyotes run like that. When the growl, I heard the growl and nothing moved. So something was there watching me and growling, and I'm there. When I put the rifle off safety and trying to point where I heard the noise, then I get hit with the damn acorn and trying to, I guess, distract me or something. I don't know. It makes no sense, you know.
Yeah.
And the same when I pointed the rifle over there, I could see movement, but I didn't hear no noise whatsoever out of it.
What do the growls sound like?
Uh, well, the growl that I've heard, it's like I tell you, I'm just trying to imagine like a wolf, like something like if I had a wolf and growled at me, just like growled at me, like you had a mean ferocious dog growl at you,
Hmm.
but there was no, I couldn't see him. I could not see him.
Like a lion, basically.
Basically, yeah, it's and it was loud, but not extreme loud, but loud enough that I got my attention. My
Mhm.
attention was very clear to get out of there because I didn't know what it was, and then my rifle was ready just in case to shoot something. But like I said, I'm in areas there's not those types of species of animals in that area. You know, Coyotes would be about your most, and a bobcat, but they don't do the noises like that. They don't.
Yeah. And are you thinking about getting back into guiding and hunting more?
I I want to get into it. I want to get past through this, and I want to. My son and I, we talk, and I've been open with my kids about it, and they're at first they were kind of uncomfortable, whatever. But then I started introducing them to your shows, and I'll send them stuff like that. I'll just hear them out. He goes, just you got nothing to lose, just hear them out. He goes, like you're hearing me out. Just I'm telling you my experience. I didn't look for it. I'm just telling you what the hell happened. I go, I'm not saying I believe it. I'm not saying I don't believe it. Now I'm more open to it now. I go, because back then I could tell you you're full of shit. That shit don't exist. Aliens, whatever. Now I don't know. There's so many things in this world that supposedly don't exist, but exist.
Yeah.
So
They're out there. I mean, they
mm,
exist. And I think you ran into them several times. And yeah, I mean, if you do go back out there, make sure you're prepared. Definitely bring a big enough rifle, a handgun. Definitely get it like an O light or some type of night core light or a mag light, like something really bright. And yeah, just be prepared in case you run into one.
yes, and I normally am when I go out there. Normally in the woods, and like I said, then again, at one time for years I stopped hunting with bows and arrows. All I did was just go with the pocket knife and my dogs and a rope to bring them back alive or kill them where they're at. If it's too far away, you can't carry them. I mean, we just you know get rid of them right there. But I did that for many years, and I took a lot of clients night and day hunting hogs, night and day with dogs. I loved it. I enjoyed it. I gave all that up. I gave a lot of that up.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna. This is the deal. My daughter, she saw me talking about it. So guess what she did? I got a birthday coming up soon, and she planned a trip just for me. And hopefully, you know, fine. Just we're going to close to that Hanobia area. I heard you talk about it in your shows.
Hmm.
and she set up a trip down there in that area, a little campsite. We're gonna go camping, and I'll keep you posted if anything hear something, or I don't know. I don't know what to do. Be honest with you, I'm just gonna show up and take it as it is and try to enjoy it. If it happens, it happens.
Yeah.
So
Are you guys going out there specifically to just camp
yes,
or for Bigfoot?
we're gonna go for camp both actually.
Oh, okay. Well,
So she wants to kind of get that, because we talk what are the areas well, I mean, Oklahoma's a hotspot like crazy. As soon as I brought that up, now looking not a week later, she goes, I got us a trip. We're going. So I'm like, okay, we're going. So that I'll be doing that with the next couple of weeks, and I'll keep you posted because we're supposed to be. I'll look at that area. It's supposed to be a very very hot spot. But then again, a lot of people do go, so I don't know what's going to happen.
yeah, that's not too far away from me. So I don't know. If something does
You're
happen, let me know, man.
Yeah, I'll for sure let you know. I mean, that first time when I saw silhouette and saw everything, that's really frightened the hell out of me. Made you realize that's what was out there. Oh my freaking god! And that's when I got a little bit more fear. Imagine what I went through, and I just saw what I saw, and they're supposed to be more. How do you say more aggressive over in that area? I
Mhm.
see. I'm new to this. I don't know who's aggressive. I figure if they saw me those days. I mean, the only thing I got was a growl, couple of howls, tree knocks. But like I said, well, if you got the tree knocks, you already warned. Basically, they're warned for what? Because I didn't even get. I wasn't doing anything.
Yeah, absolutely. There's another guy that has a channel. His name's Steve, and his channel's called How to Hunt. He was actually a guide, and he talks about running into these things in British
Is
Columbia.
that from? Oh yes, I've seen it. I've seen a video of his video. Did you see the one with the biggest, huge monster? I mean, in the river that they videotaped it. That's what got my attention the most.
Yeah, yeah, I've seen that. That's pretty wild for sure.
Hmm.
Okay. Well, I think that pretty well covers your experiences and your encounters, and yeah, that's what I think it is. I think you ran into Bigfoot or some other type of cryptid, and it makes sense why they're in the area. There's a lot of game there, a lot of waterways,
Yes.
a lot of forest, and yeah, I mean, I think you were smart to question what you were experiencing because these things can be dangerous. There's certain territories in North America where these things don't mess around with people. There's places like around here where the Sasquatch will wood knock, they'll gift you, they'll kind of interact with you and they'll
Mm.
move off. But yeah, I've heard of really bad encounters in certain areas, and that being like East Texas and different areas around Texas, Oklahoma, Alaska, and yeah, it's definitely frightening. You don't want to mess with something that's
Right.
been known to terrorize or possibly hurt people.
Hmm. And that's what I'm finding out. I mean, uh, it's just I don't know. Basically, in my experience that I've been seeing, I don't know if they hurt you or they don't hurt you or what they do. And I heard you say it today, and I've heard it from other people. They tag you and they follow you for as far as they can. I don't know, but you're the second person that told me you probably were tagged because that other guy that I told you, I kind of mentioned it to him. He goes, you probably were tagged. He goes, what do you mean tagged? He goes, when you tag, it's like you'll see them more and they'll follow you or whatever. They find it. Well, they'll find you. He goes, I hope not. 'Cause, I mean, this is all new to me. I'm just trying to figure out everybody has their own comments, and every time they bring something else, I go, "Huh." So, I mean, there's always something new to this. And your stories that I heard you and comments of the guys they had the experience, uh, it's it's just unbelievable that everybody sees it, and what I see, and they're still not real, supposedly, from with the government or whoever. But like I said, I just want to know the damn truth, what it is, or what, just to just to get closure, I guess. I don't know what to tell you. I'm not looking for anything, just a little closure
Yeah.
on this aspect.
Well, I believe you, and I think that's what it was, man. So don't feel alone, and these things are out there. So just be careful the next time you go out in the woods. They're not under every single rock, but
No.
you got to be mindful of it for sure.
Hmm. For sure.
Okay.
Mm.
Well, if you ever want to meet up in the future, let me know. Maybe we can go camping somewhere, or if you run into these things again, feel free to reach out to me, and I'd be glad to listen what you experience.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't have a problem. I mean, if one day the opportunity happens where, I've got an opportunity, I may call you if you do, if I'm available. I would love to find out with people that have experience, that kind of got an idea of what the hell we're doing, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you do go out there, be careful, man.
Will do. I will do that, man.
All right, Roger, I appreciate you for sharing your experiences here on the channel. And yeah, everything you did, it really means a lot to me.
All right. Appreciate you, Miguel. Thank you for your time.
Yep, thank you, and you have an excellent night, man.
You too. Bye-bye.
All right, bye. All right, Roger, thank you very much for sharing your Bigfoot encounters and experiences with me from the state of Texas. And I certainly do believe this was Sasquatch activity, but of course, where people are seeing Bigfoot, other people are reporting seeing dogman creatures, but that's too hard for me to determine from what you described. But some of the vocalizations that you were talking about did remind me of what possibly a dogman could sound like, but I am going to say that these were probably Sasquatch creatures, and they were being very territorial. So I'm glad that nothing else unfolded other than experiencing them and catching a glimpse of these creatures, because you just never know. There are places where people have experienced horrifying encounters with the Sasquatch, and yeah, there are people out there that say these creatures are good, but there are others out there that have experienced some really horrific things. So it's always best to be mindful, and it doesn't sound like they were being playful. It doesn't sound like they were being gentle with you guys, that kind, loving guardian of the forest like some people describe. It sounds like these things were extremely ticked off that you guys were in the area. But yeah, I appreciate you for getting in contact with me and sharing your encounters with me, and I appreciate everyone for listening. If you guys can, like the video, subscribe, and if you have a Bigfoot encounter, please contact me sometime. All right, with all that being said, you guys be safe out in the forest.